What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. A lot of stuff actually happened yesterday that was pretty interesting. Mostly, there was a lot of stuff around the Switch. Specifically, a new third-party game kind of shows up. So let's get started today. And in our first bit of news, we're going to talk about WWE 2K18 now making the jump to the Switch. Of course, we already know about this game coming to the PS4 and the Xbox One, and we've had some interesting retail leaks where we heard about it was posted on a retail site at one point in time, which seemed to point a lot of speculation towards Take-Two bringing their other big release of the year. Remember, NBA 2K18 is already going to the Switch, and yes, it looks like WWE 2K18 is also going to the Switch, and this was shown on Nintendo UK, their Twitter feed, as Seth Rollins shows up in a commercial spot where he talks about the Switch and how the game is coming over to that system. And then, of course, you have WWE's Twitter also putting that same ad out, so yes, it made the rounds quickly, and everyone got pretty excited because it seems, based on what they're saying, this is going to be the exact same game with graphical differences, keep in mind, from resolutions, maybe to shadows. But overall, content-wise, it looks like it is going to be the exact same game. And this becomes a very interesting thought here because now is the added portability something that trumps better visuals, like 4K or something? Would you be more interested in having a portable version of the same game rather than having a high-end, visually exciting game that is tethered to a TV? That is now the question a lot of people are going to ask themselves when they go to buy this game. Because I know there's a lot of people right now who are excited, wrestling fans that are excited that they can take this game with them. Maybe they go to the events, I don't know, but they can take their Switch with them, or maybe they just go to work. Like I see a lot of pictures on Twitter of people at work playing their Switch. They also go into detail about the game. There's a lot of stuff that was shown, including a new pre-order character, by the way, with Kurt Angle. So if you pre-order the game, you should get a code of some kind, either when the game comes out or ahead of time. I assume it's just when the game comes out. You're not going to do anything with the pre-order code beforehand. They also talked about a refined grappling system, what I assume to be, from what they're saying, more accurate weight detection, and an expansive backstage area. So if you're like me with like the old school wrestling games and you would play things like No Mercy, Here Comes the Pain, or even Day of Reckoning, you know there were some pretty cool backstage areas there, and I've always wanted them to get back to like the old school backstage areas where you could do some of the most zany stuff back there, and you could go from the ring to backstage to then the parking lot just by entering doors. That was really funny. It got to the point where I think it was Here Comes the Pain, where I would get on a treadmill and smash a button to fill up my special meter constantly while my opponent was laying on the ground, and I would just hit them with 10 supers just for fun. And it does seem like 2K is pretty much behind the Switch. You have Take-Two obviously as the big company, but Take-Two and 2K seem to be heavily behind the Switch. There's a lot of companies right now, as we've seen, who are complaining about the Switch, whether it's they don't like the hardware, they don't like the setup, they don't like the hybrid fashion of it, because to them it's more work. But then you have Take-Two really pushing their 2K games to the Switch in what appears to be a release in parity. Same day it's coming out. WWE 2K18 is coming out October 17th. We've already seen the NBA 2K18 version coming out the same day as well. And it's interesting to see this because now a lot of people are really, the gears are spinning here. Maybe that means GTA 5 is in the works for the Switch, and they're ready to go all in with pretty much all of their releases. I think Take-Two is smart here, mostly because I've said this before. Right now, Switch releases are a big deal. Like, if you put your game on the Switch and it's on the Xbox One and the PS4, I'm going to tell you now, Switch owners are really going to look at it because of that portable aspect. It's different now than it definitely was with the Wii U, because you didn't have a portable aspect with the Wii U. You were tethered to the TV just like you were with the PS4 and the Xbox One. Sure, you could turn off the TV and play it, but you're not getting up from the couch and walking down the block or something with it, or, you know, going anywhere with it, really. I mean, it's when I had my Wii U out, I would go, 8 feet, 10 feet away from it, and you'd start to have connection issues, and the Switch is much different. So more and more companies are going to start looking at this, especially a game like NBA 2K18. How does that sell on the Switch? How does wrestling sell on the Switch? I actually think wrestling is going to sell really well on the Switch, mostly because, one, I'm going to say this now, the owners of the Switch are constantly looking for new games to come out to try their new console out, because there's not a lot of releases coming out, every week that are big games, right? So if a company decides to make that third-party game and put it on the Switch, you better be sure a lot of people are going to show up for it. But I'm very interested on what your take is here. Are you excited for WWE 2K18? Is this really it? Is this the game you're waiting for to show up on the Switch because you're a fan of that series on the PS4 and the Xbox One? Keep in mind also, it's been 5 years since we've had a wrestling game show up on a Nintendo system that was like a home console. I mean, this is it. It was WWE 13 on the Wii, and it's also been 6 years since we've had a portable wrestling game released by WWE. So this is going to kind of hit both sides. It's going to be a Nintendo console and it's going to be portable. So this is going to be an interesting release. Next up, we have a massive ban on Steam accounts, specifically ones that kind of violate the terms and service of VAC, which is the Valve anti-cheat system. Per SteamDB, which is a Steam third-party database, and you can actually go on there and look. There's a massive spike of bans, and it was also talked about originally by .esports, where they talked about more than 40,000 accounts that have pretty much violated the anti-cheat system, like I was saying, that's in place to keep people from cheating. They ran pretty much a scan, found all of these people who have been violating it, and simply banned them from what I can see as VAC servers. And the bans can kind of range. Like if you get banned, you can either be banned for that single game, you can be banned from VAC servers. There are servers that just they don't check for cheating. Then they have ones that are much more legit, more like esport types where they have VAC enabled, so you can't just walk in and cheat and win first place in what could be a big tournament. In this case, it looks like they just banned people from different VAC servers. Also, probably depending on the severity. There are some people who are saying, I lost my entire account with all of my games. Other people are saying, I can't play online with that game anymore. And then others are saying, well, you know, I can't play on VAC server games anymore. I was cheating. And that's the way it goes. Although some people have taken to the forum saying that they were unfairly banned. But, I mean, what are you going to say when you get banned? You're probably going to say, I'm unfairly banned, please unban me. Now, a lot of sites have, at this point, really reported this. Everyone's trying to reach out to Valve, but it seems pretty obvious. People are freaking out about this. Others have reported that it is over 40,000, and this looks to be the largest purge of cheating accounts in Valve's history. It seems like they're really serious right now, and I don't blame them. It's no fun to get into a game where it's supposed to be taken seriously, and then you have people who are legitimately cheating, whether they're seeing through walls or they're using heavy aim assist. A lot of stuff, it's not fun. That's really all there is to it. I don't mind cheaters being banned from servers. Maybe don't cut them off from their massive game library that we all seem to accumulate in Steam, but either don't let them play that game online anymore or just don't let them into VAC marked servers. Next up, NBA Playgrounds finally delivers that online patch for the Nintendo Switch system. So if you've kind of forgotten about that game and you're like, man, it would have been great to play online, you can now. They have actually released a patch 1.1.3 that will enable you now to play against your friends online. Not to say Switch owners, man, the patience has been tested here, because originally it's supposed to be like a few weeks after release for this patch to show up, and then it turned into a lot longer than that. And at least they went ahead and said, well, we're going to give you Shaq Fu, although there's probably a lot of people who are like, I don't want that. I just want to play online now. Well, now you can play online. Everyone else will get Shaq Fu anyway, so you know what? It's updated. They also added some extra stuff to it as well, which includes 15 new players, which have been added, including Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman, and those two All-Stars and 13 others will be unlocked through the regular packs. They also apparently tweaked different things, including jump shots from going up for a dunk or shooting a three, even layups, which were kind of annoying. If you remember this, you had to do some weird, like it seemed like you weren't supposed to release the button when you feel like you should. It was well before then because they had this running animation to do a layup. Once you figured it out, it wasn't a big deal, but a lot of times you would find yourself releasing the button when you're going to lay it up, and it seemed like you would miss for no reason. It looks like they fixed a lot of that too. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. We'll check it out. But it's good to know, though, yes, they have put that patch out. Switch owners can at least play online now. Shaq Fu will be coming for free when it comes out, and hopefully that's the end of that. Also, right now, Fire Pro Wrestling World is available on Steam. If you're not familiar with Fire Pro Wrestling, it's been around for a long time. Like, we're talking back to the PC Engine. We're talking back to 1989 here. It's been around for a bit. It's been released on several different systems. Came out on the Virtual Console, for example. And we were there wasn't anything new coming out. And then we get this announcement, and now it's finally here in Steam Early Access. So if you were a fan of old school Fire Pro Wrestling, this looks like old school mixed with kind of newer visuals and setups. And what's really cool is you can share your characters online. And of course, it's not licensed really by any of the current wrestling federations or anything, any of the different companies, but there are several likenesses, we'll say that, to the characters, and people are making their own characters. All of the moves you know, for example, special moves, everything, it's all already there. People are making characters, you can download them. So let's say you want Brock Lesnar. People have already made him, they've put his moveset out, you can download him and use him in the game. Kinda cool. I like Fire Pro Wrestling, old school Fire Pro Wrestling. It was a lot of fun. I actually played it on, I remember it was on the PS2 and I played it there a good bit. And I also played it on the Virtual Console, so I've already downloaded this. It's actually installing now, and then I'll be playing it. Look for Evan and I. We'll actually do a Let's Play of it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And the last bit of news, we've talked about how the Switch is like an indie game heaven, really. Developers seem to love porting to it because it's easy. It's known hardware with Integra. It's not like this weird hardware configuration with the Wii U where some games that should run on that kind of hardware wasn't. In this case, it seems pretty straightforward for a lot of them, and they are kind of flocking to the Switch right now. And what's really interesting is those indie games are selling. And the best example right now is Kamiko. It's come out that they have sold over 110,000 copies of that game. It's $5, so it's not like an expensive game. But the fact that these games are selling that well, specifically a game like Kamiko, which is, like I said, a $5 kind of top-down, almost like a Zelda-style game if I had to compare it to something. And this was initially reported by Nintendo Life. So I would heavily expect more and more indie games to come over. Definitely like smaller studio games. Kamiko, for example, 2-man team, 4 months of development. That's how long it took them to get this game done and to the Switch, which is pretty good. I mean, for 2 guys to get it done that quick is pretty solid, and more than likely, overall development was definitely nowhere near as complex as any of the bigger titles, but a lot of people found a lot of joy in that game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It's $5, so it's not even expensive, and selling that many copies is great. I do expect, as we're going along, to see a lot of indie games. Some people may not like it because you'll get some mobile ports, like we talked about Implosion. That is a mobile port. Some people weren't happy about that. Other people were like, well, it's fun. It's either you have it or you don't have it. So I assume a lot of people are happy to at least have the option of buying them rather than none at all. And that's it for Newswave today. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about anything we talked about today, whether maybe you're really excited for WWE 2K to come over, or maybe you're happy about the possibility of something like a GTA 5 to eventually follow these games to the Switch, because Take-Two is pretty good about the Switch right now. They're bringing their games over in parity with what appears to be no real issues with having these games come to the Switch on the same release date. Also, are you one of the people who are now happy that NBA Playgrounds finally has been patched and you can play online, or have you kind of forgotten about the game and move on at this point because it's been out for so long without that patch you stopped caring? That's it for now. I'll see you guys next time.